first step in being able to use the bandsaw is we had to restore the bandsaw. And the first step in any restoration is documentation and taking it apart. So I had a couple friends come over and we spent the day basically taking pictures and scrubbing old dirt and paint and grease off the bandsaw and trying to figure out how the whole thing went together and how best to take it apart, and making sure that we documented it enough that when we came time to put the machine back together, we would know where everything went. Just, kind of gaining as much information as we could. Once the bandsaw was all apart, then it was time to clean all those pieces and get them ready for reassembly. So cleaning the parts, although a fairly simple task, was a disgusting, terrible, awful task. So I started with a wire brush and just knocked off anything that was loose, and then took a professional grade paint stripper and painted that on with an old paintbrush, and then took a wire brush and scraped all of the goopy, slimy, chemical-soaked paint at that point off of it. And then you clean it with some mineral spirits. It was really gross and really terrible. I ate through 2 pairs of rubber gloves. This chemical stripper just ate right through them. But the stripper worked really well and the parts came out pretty clean, so I think it was worth it. So once all of the parts were stripped of their paint and all the grease and oil was off and the rest of the paint stripper was removed, I went through and painted all of the parts with Penetrol, and it really helps the oil-based paint stick to the metal, especially since I don't know what the old paint was or what exact finishes or grease was on the machine over the years. The main frame got gray, most of the moving parts got red, and anything else got black, because we thought it would be a nice classic look for an old classic machine. So the bandsaw came on a mobile base, which is great, and the guy had it in his shop with a big concrete floor and he could move it around. It worked really well. But for us, the mobile base doesn't work so well in our dirt-floored boathouse. So we can't level it, and we can't really move it that easily. And it's also really tall, so you're trying to cut up here, which is really awkward. So we wanted to design a base that we could set it all the way flat down on the ground, but at the same time be able to easily pick the bandsaw up, put the mobile base underneath it, and move it around. But the bandsaw weighs, I don't even know, maybe a ton. It's at least 1,000 pounds. So moving it is really difficult, and that's where the mobile base was great. You just pick it up, right? I can slide it, I can't pick it up. So we put down a plywood base, and then we put these little arms out, and then we can slide the floor jack underneath them and just jack them up. So we can jack one side up, slide the dolly underneath, bolt it down, lower the floor jack, go to the other side, jack it up, slide the dolly underneath, and we can move it around. It works pretty well. Super psyched. The bandsaw operates with two big wheels, one up the top, one on the bottom, and the blade rides around those wheels. And the bottom wheel is made of cast iron, I believe, and the upper wheel has cast iron spokes, but the outer rim is wood. So we peeled off the old rubber wheel that somebody had nailed onto the wood rim, which kind of makes me cringe. But we peeled that off, cleaned that up, and the lower wheel didn't even have a rubber tire on it. They were just running the metal rim against the metal bandsaw blade, which also really makes me cringe. But we cleaned that up, and the top one, since it was wood, we sanded all the varnish off and then re-varnished it. We put 3 coats of new varnish on. And then once the varnish was dry and the spokes were painted, we brought the wheels into the house so that we could epoxy the rubber tires onto place. And the reason we brought them inside is that it was cold out, and we didn't think that the epoxy was going to set up properly outside. And then we laid down a tarp on the floor, smeared epoxy all over them very carefully, and put the rubber tires in place. And then once the epoxy had dried, we could trim the tires to the proper width. And then the machine was ready to be assembled. We had the tires done, the rubber wheels were on, all the parts were painted. It took about a day to get the bandsaw assembled, and we had a friend come over so that we had an extra set of hands.
Alright, so can you crank that handle? This one? Yep. And get this whole head assembly to come down? Okay. Crank it. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, you want to crank it up. Okie dokie. Keep tightening it back up. Is that pressure? Just pressure. Cool. Okay, cool. Slow down. So now if you look over here, this is the gauge. So the first line is for 1/4 inch, the second line is for 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, and 1 1/4. So this blade is a 1 1/4. So to tighten it properly, we want to turn this handle until it hits the 1 1/4 line. So you can keep cranking until you get to that point. Yeah, it definitely looks like this wheel needs to. So I just want to know, I'll crank on these, and let me know when you think that that wheel is standing vertically.
And when we reassembled the saw, we reassembled the electrical exactly the way that it was and hooked it up, and we're really excited to see the saw run. Flip the switch and nothing happened. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. My grandfather, grandpappy, he came down and gave us a hand. He's a little better with that electrical stuff than I am. And he still couldn't figure it out. There's this like Frankenstein style box on the side of it and an electromagnet with a switch, and we think it was some sort of original soft start, but it doesn't seem to be working anymore.
Alright. Shut it off.
The motor that it came with is some gigantic motor made in the 1940s or 1950s. So how reliable that's going to be, how well that was treated, we have no idea. So ultimately the decision was to get a 3-phase motor for the bandsaw, and then to get a VFD, which is a variable frequency drive, to control it. And what that does is it changes the single-phase power from either the house or the generator into 3-phase for the 3-phase motor, and also lets us adjust the motor. So instead of it just slamming into gear, it slowly starts. So if you see the video of the bandsaw, it goes and then picks up speed, as opposed to just slamming right into that high RPM, which is great. It's a lot nicer on the machine. It does the same thing when it stops, which is also great. But the best feature is that when the saw is running, you can just press a button and it can make the saw go slower or faster. That's kind of cool, taking a 100-year-old machine and that old technology and mating it with state-of-the-art variable frequency drive. It's I don't know, it's kind of cool to have the old world and new world working together. So that was like a day to get the motor mount built and the motor mounted. And then once that was done, we had the VFD. I built a box for it because that is a very sensitive piece of electronics that doesn't like dust and direct sunlight or moisture. And living in the dusty, direct sunlit boathouses, it's not going to like that all that much. Then my buddy Gunn came and helped do all the wiring and fired up the bandsaw, and she runs like a champ. I sent a text message to Bruce's wife, who was the contact I had for getting the bandsaw, and we're hoping to get Bruce out here. Would love to show him what we did to his saw. But we are so thankful to be the current caretakers of this bandsaw, and it's going to make building this boat just so much easier. Now that we have it, I kind of can't fathom trying to build the boat without it. We couldn't have asked for a better machine or gotten it for a better price. It was just, yeah, really amazing, and we're incredibly thankful and joyous to have this piece of equipment. Thanks, Bruce. We appreciate it. Okay.
We're done. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. All right.